Yeah.
I do. Hey, good, good. Thank you,
I
Sabina.
don't. Scott, you got two
Got two what?
questions.
I got one.
Oh,
We're only
I'm
going
going to start with
10 minutes, right?
Sabina,
We're only going
then I'm
10
going to go
minutes, right?
to Dave, Scott, and Phil, and I have the last.
Okay, we only got 10 minutes each, right?
Yes.
You're live.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to our interview for the City Council, to interview for the Economic Development Advisory Committee for today's date's May 14th, 2020. Madam Clerk, you have some introductory comments to make.
Yes. So prior to roll call, I would like to make an announcement regarding the teleconferencing of this meeting. I would like to make clear for the record, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that the governor has issued 2 executive orders relaxing the requirements pertaining to remote meetings under the Brown Act. To facilitate social distancing and to slow the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, the executive orders authorize state and local legislative bodies to hold public meetings by teleconference more easily. These provisions will remain in effect during the period in which state or local public health officials have imposed or recommended during social distancing measures. The order allows the council to proceed with its members participating electronically or telephonically. Council members are no longer required to be physically present in a meeting in order to participate or to establish a quorum. The agency must provide a means for public to observe the meeting and to provide the public an opportunity to comment. The opportunities for public observation and participation must be and have been included in the meeting notice. The procedures adopted for this meeting have been established to meet or exceed the standards set forth in the order. For more information, please refer to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-25-20. I will now take roll, after which I would ask the mayor to recognize me in order to confirm certain matters of the record. Councilmember Hudson?
Here.
Councilmember Alone?
Here.
Councilmember Perkins?
Here,
Vice Mayor Zafar?
Here.
Mayor Clarkson?
Here,
Thank you.
Madam
I have
Clerk, go
3
ahead.
I have 3 questions for the council. I will ask all 3 questions, and if the answer is yes to all 3, please say yes and raise your hand. Can you hear me well? Have you been able to hear all previous speakers, including the roll call, clearly? Are you satisfied based on facial or voice recognition or otherwise that everyone here representing themselves to be a council member is actually the person they are representing themselves to be?
Yes.
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 Thank you. The record should reflect that I have received affirmative answers from each council member present to all 3 questions. And I finally would like to advise the council that any votes taken during this meeting must be taken by roll call. So item 2 is public comment. Looks like for those in the audience that want to speak, not on the agenda, or actually on the agenda item, please raise your hand at this time. We have no requests to speak. Item 3.1 Economic Development Advisory Committee appointments. And our first candidate is Michael Lee.
I might mention that we have one of the other candidates is listening in on the attendees group.
Okay, is Michael in?
Can we ask them to drop?
Shudong, and I don't know who the Jason is. Is that Jason Gong?
Hello, Michael. You're on mute, Michael.
I'm on now.
Okay,
Hello,
go ahead,
everyone.
go ahead and start your video.
What?
Yeah, hold on.
Can we ask Shudong Ma to drop, please?
Christina?
Shudong, if your time is at 6:50, would you mind logging back in at your time frame?
Michael, hold on one second. We're doing some admin stuff.
No problem. I understand.
Did you get an acknowledgement?
No, she's still listed.
I wonder if she logged on and walked away.
Can you drop them or?
No. Okay, we need to proceed because we have a time frame here.
Christina,
Yes,
can you drop them?
I can't, I mean, they're a member of the public essentially, so I can't ask them to
No.
leave.
No. Can't do that. Michael, welcome. Thank you. You are the first person ever to be interviewed by Zoom by the city of Santa Rosa for an interview for a committee. So congratulations.
I am honored, Bill. Thank you so much. And everyone, I'm so glad to be here and hope you're staying safe.
So you will suffer all of our beginning stuff here. The way we
It's
work
okay.
it,
Wouldn't
we,
be the first time.
we ask all the candidates the same question, or generally the same question. We give you a chance to make any comments at the beginning, and we always allow you to have the final say at the end. We'll have about 10 minutes together. And so I started off, do you have anything you want to comment on before we begin to ask you questions?
Only that I have enjoyed my 4 years. I think it's about that long, Christina, maybe a little longer, serving on EDAC as vice chair. And I just look forward to serving the city that I love, San Ramon.
Great. Sabina, I'll let you start. And I have right now on my clock 5:15. So I'll use that clock, Christina, to try to keep us on my time, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Can we ask Dan Perez to log off, please?
Okay, Sabina.
Michael, how are you?
Good, Sabina. Good to see you.
Good to see you virtually in our new world order. So I guess my question is, you're seeing a lot of people walk and bike these days as well, just organically happened in San Ramon. What is your vision, as economic development to see, I mean, it's a strange question, but how, right now asking economic development, but how do you see us building a walkable, bikeable city where, really some of our businesses will thrive? And I would love to just hear your vision of what you have.
Well, I think we have a lot of walkable areas already that have plenty of space for social distancing. I think one of the things we need to think about, though, is how can we make them walk more by some of our businesses? We have some great areas with parks, open land, and that kind of thing, but we really need to support our businesses, especially after the coronavirus. I think we're going to need to change economic development to economic survival. So we need to help our businesses survive, not just bring new businesses in. Obviously, that's always an option, but I think a lot of our current businesses are going to really be struggling right now. Many of them don't have a large emergency fund, and they were struggling even before the coronavirus hit. And this is just going to push some of them over the edge. So I think we could put together some forums for our various businesses, like a forum for restaurants, brainstorm on how can we help our restaurants survive and thrive in the new economy, retail stores, things of that nature. And like you mentioned, I think one of the things we can start thinking about is how can we get more foot traffic to go by our businesses, even while we're doing social distancing and exercising and things like that. We can take Bill's idea, of the walking path and the whole area, but let's add some retail, some commercial to it, besides just Bishop Ranch, obviously. But again, I think that's a huge issue for our businesses right now, economic survival.
Thank you.
Scott, next up.
Okay. Michael, thank you for being a member, and thank you for reapplying. I'd like to ask, have you seen any local jurisdiction programs designed to help local businesses that you would suggest we could implement at a low cost in San Ramon?
Well, not around here, but as I look out over the entire nation, I see a lot of creative ideas where cities are putting together special task forces to help local businesses survive and do better. Like they're helping restaurants to understand, You know, what else can they do to bring in revenue? Because a lot of them are going to lose probably about half of their revenue as they have to increase the distance between tables. As you probably know, Scott, with your experience, I mean, the whole thing for restaurants is turnover. And now you cut the occupancy by half. Now you got to have double the turnover, and very few of our restaurants have been doing that. But there are a lot of places throughout the country that are being a little more creative. And I think we put together a task force on that, and we could come up with some great ideas, piggyback on other people's ideas as well. But there's plenty of ideas out there, Scott, and all we have to do is pick the ones that work for our businesses in the local area. But obviously, we need to include in the task force a lot of people that are, you know, restaurants, retail, and commercial office spaces, because they're going to be challenged too as the unemployment increases and as more people work from home. I think our commercial is going to suffer, and I know, Bill, you know that that's probably going to happen as well. But you know, Scott, there's plenty of ideas out there. We just need to grab a bunch of them, throw them out there, and then let's see what our local businesses are willing and able to embrace. But there's no shortage of ideas.
Thank you.
Dave.
Yeah, Michael, you know, City Center's making a plan or has a plan for 4,500 homes. In your opinion, is it economically better to have the 4,500 homes within walking distance of City Center, or would you rather see them dispersed throughout the city?
Well, first of all, caveat, as you know, Dave, I've been a realtor for 44 years. So, you know, far be it for me to say that we should not have more housing in the area for us to sell, for people to buy. It would be nice to have it dispersed, but over the years, EDAC has looked at the possibilities, and it's tough to find a lot of infill where we could spread it out a little more. But having it that close to City Center, I think would really help to provide business for the City Center. And it would serve those people a little more effectively as well. But, you know, if we could find the space to diversify it out, I think that'd be a great thing. But at the moment, we've looked at that very carefully, and the developers have as well. If it were my option, if I could wave a magic wand, I wish we could disperse it a little bit. But given the fact that it's that close to City Center, it kind of is a win-win for the residents as well as the retail people at City Center, at least for the moment. But let's look at how things develop, because I think it may slow down the development because there's going to be, I think, a bit less demand right now, possibly because of the unemployment. But as Bill and I both know, there's a huge pent-up demand for housing, not only in San Ramon, not only just in our area, but throughout the state as well. So I think it deserves a second look though right now, given the new situation that we're coming into, and the developers may have some thoughts as well, given what's going on with the economy. But
Michael, you know that Bill and I were in the same office. I just realized it.
well,
Bill,
I know you know that too, Dave. So as fellow realtors, here we go. You know what a conflict of interest it is. And that's the balance that we always have to look at. You know, what's really best for the city? And that's my major goal, is regardless of what's best for the real estate industry, I take a much longer term view of, you know, what's best for our city and the quality of life for all of our residents.
Phil.
Michael, thanks for applying. We've got like 2 minutes to go. I'd rather, you know, Mayor, you can ask a question and Michael can do a wrap up. I'm fine with that. I've got a pretty good picture. Thank you for
Thank you,
serving.
Phil, and I love the mustache.
The question, Mike, is what do you think are to be the biggest barriers for people to get, for the economy to get going? In your mind, what are the biggest barriers people are going to have to overcome to get out of this hole?
Well, I think what we've got to do, Bill, is we've got to be creative. There's plenty, we've been through plenty of these before. 2008, 1997, we've been through this before, and we will get out of it. I think the first thing we've got to do is keep people's spirits up. and be positive and talk about the positive aspects of San Ramon and why invest in San Ramon, why come here, why continue to shop here, why we want to shop locally in San Ramon. And by keeping our positivity up, I think that's the first thing. And then let's just be creative about how we can bring more business here, keep businesses healthy and thriving, but just keep people thinking this is a great place to live and do business. And we can do that in many ways. We did that over the last couple of years with economic development. And I look forward to doing even more of it and being even more creative. As times become much more challenging, I think we can be much more creative. But I love this city, as all of us do, and we'll figure it out. But let's just be positive.
In the minute we have left, any final comments or questions you have?
No, I think, I would love to be back on economic development, especially at this time when things are so very challenging. I think I bring a level of experience and certainly a level of expertise, not just in real estate, but having run various businesses, having been the dean of a school of management at John F. Kennedy University. I think that my skill set can really be a benefit to the city of San Ramon, particularly at this very, very challenging time, because Bill, and as most of you folks know, I'm a very positive, optimistic person, and we will get through this. And I look forward to being part of it, whether it's on EDAC or some other function that I can serve. I'm happy to do so. But I thank you for your time. And again, we're all in this together. We'll get through it.
Thank you, Michael. We'll be making our decision tonight, and I believe within the next day or two, the city clerk will have gotten back to everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks again
Thank
for
you.
your service.
Thank you.
Take care, Mike.
All right.
All right, so the next candidate is Dan Perez.
Okay. Hello, Dan. Put your microphone on. Great.
All right.
Good
How's everybody
evening.
doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We are doing our first ever interviews using Zoom. And so we appreciate your patience and as we go through this process. So thanks, Dan. And what we'll do over the next 10 minutes or so is each of us have a question for you. You'll get a chance to any introductory comments you want to make, and at the end, any last minute comments you want to make. Fair enough?
Sure.
So
So,
one quick thing, if we can say, I see another next interviewer here. Do we want to make an announcement that we only join during the time of your interview? Christina?
So Christina can make an
or-
announcement to everybody. Dan, pardon for a second.
That's okay.
Oh, if you're, he just signed off.
Okay. Very good. Okay, we're set. Dan, anything you want to say before we begin asking questions to you?
No, just that I volunteered for this because I'd like to stay involved in my community. I like to have some inside knowledge of the things, the decisions, the decision process that affects the lives here in San Ramon. I have a young son, a wife there, and I'm concerned with the quality of life in San Ramon. And I've always been the type of person who likes to contribute as well for the betterment of the community. So, and I did a previous tour. I was on the last round as a member of EDAC, and I enjoyed it. I tried to make all the meetings I could, but between that and work, I missed a couple, but I am just once again submitting my application to become a member of it.
Great. We're going to start in reverse order than last time, so I take off and I lead. We're in the middle of an interesting economic sort of situation. So as you look at this, not what you think we should do, but what do you see are the barriers that are going to keep the economy from going? What do you see as the barriers that we've got to think about?
Well, first and foremost, this is like a first for many of us. I don't think we were expecting the stay-at-home order to take this long, and we're discovering the economic impact of, people not being able to go to businesses and go about their normal daily lives. And from what I've read, the first issue is that there's confusion and uncertainty as to when we should go full out back into normal mode. And we're getting conflicting advice from, sorry about that, different advisors in the medical field, and then we have the government officials, then we have the citizens, and we have, sorry about that, I have some kids in the house. And there appear to be different camps of opinions. So I think we have to deal with that first. And the other issue is it's probably not going to be a clean return to business. I think that's a big factor. There's going to be a lot of tentativeness, some apprehension. I think there's going to be actually another month where individuals will be very cautious and they will still perhaps stay at home themselves voluntarily. And this transition period is uncertain. We're not quite sure how long that's going to last. And I think that's something that we need to plan for.
Great. Phil.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for serving previously. What's the top skill you think you bring to a committee like this?
I would say observation and analytical skill. I'm very scientific minded. Okay, I taught science in high school before, and I'm a big fan of science. So I think I would say it would be a measured, objective look at things, looking at facts, being data driven, less emotional driven, weighing in all factors, seeing both sides of the equation, getting an assessment of the stakeholders who are involved in the decisions, and coming up with some type of judicious decision, or helping arrive to the decision that will benefit the broad scope of most citizens in San Ramon without.
Well, I would say other than the fact that you're a Naval Academy grad, I think you're a great candidate.
Oh, are you a West Pointer?
No, Scott went to the Naval Academy, so.
Yeah, I've heard.
Poking at me here. Phil went to Notre Dame, so just discount his comments.
Okay.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, Dan. If you probably have already heard, there's 4,500 homes being planned for City Center. Economically, is that better for more housing in the city center within walking distance of the city center, or spread out throughout the city?
I would say, that's a tough call to make. The obvious advantage of having them located close to the city center would be less traffic congestion. Now, I don't know if the city planners have done the traffic analysis of what 4,500 new or plus new residents would mean to the traffic. But having them close to city center and walking distance to the job centers would definitely be a benefit. Having them spread out in other areas would have some benefits as well. Okay, so, in terms of balance and resource consumption, I think if I were to make a choice, I would prefer that the units be built close to city center, because I tend to be more environmental conscious, and I think that's the trend of communities is having the residences close to the work centers, kind of like the European style of cities.
Thank you, Dan. It's more than a trend.
Scott,
And thanks for applying again. Have you seen any local jurisdiction programs to help small businesses that, whoops, am I lost here?
no, you're okay.
I hear you fine.
Well, you know, it's curious because I just lost everything. Let me click back in here.
Go ahead and ask your question. We
Good,
can hear.
Scott. You look like normal right now.
Okay, well, that's better than usual then. Okay, oh, there we go. Let's see, have you seen any local programs or local jurisdiction programs? I'm not talking state or federal programs, but local jurisdiction programs that can help small businesses that you would recommend that we implement at a low cost in San Ramon?
I haven't, in terms of like local, in terms of Contra Costa County.
No. I'm thinking of terms of a program done at a local level, not a federal or a state program. I mean, we don't have billions, we don't have millions to give, but have you seen programs done at the local level, not necessarily Contra Costa County, anywhere in the country, but a local level program done at a low cost to help businesses? If you would recommend we try.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen much of that, lately, other than citizens on Nextdoor encouraging one another to, think of the small businesses that are suffering, and to, at least for the restaurants that are having like takeout, to take some time to visit them, okay, and use their services. But right now it's such a crazy time, and it's kind of difficult to get logistics going. But I'm sure we'll be seeing those small grassroots efforts pop up here and there as the governor starts lifting some of the restrictions. And actually, I think EDAC would be a very good body to come up with ideas that you mentioned there, Scott. Grassroots, small incentives to get small businesses going.
Thank you.
Great. Sabina.
Yeah. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for serving and coming again for the interview.
My pleasure.
I'm going to fine tune my question a little bit. So San Ramon has multiple shopping malls. They're not very walkable. And so it doesn't really connect all the businesses with each other. What is your vision of connecting our businesses in these malls to be more walkable, so that when people go for coffee, they maybe visit a couple of more shops and just don't drive in and drive out of our local malls?
Okay, I remember discussing this in a couple of meetings last year. It's a challenge, and I could understand why it would be beneficial to have more foot traffic in our shopping zoned areas. That would be a city planner thing, and I think personally, as a citizen and resident of San Ramon, things that would keep me in a local area would be aesthetics. So I would work with the property owners to create sort of like gathering places, like little centers in these shopping centers where people can sit down and maybe listen to music, live music. We could borrow some ideas from other cities that are doing things like this to keep the foot traffic at the business center longer, so they could spend more while they're there. So yeah, I would say like little areas, little squares. They could invest some square footage with tables and chairs and plants, and like I said, have a stage and little things like that. So it'd be mostly aesthetics, I would say. Aesthetics, just to give people a reason to hang around and not leave.
Dan, thank you. Any last minute comments before we draw this to a close?
Well, I'll just reiterate that, I love San Ramon. I've lived here since 2006. I think you, Mayor Clarkson, and the previous mayors have done a great job beautifying it, keeping it clean, and a highly desirable location for young families. And I just like to offer my services to help continue it and provide some insight and ideas into keeping San Ramon a great city to live in.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
We'll be reaching a decision this evening, and we'll be getting back to everybody, at least the city clerk will, over the next 1 or 2 days.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye, Dan.
All right, bye-bye.
The next candidate is Terry Caney. So let me just
Okay.
add him in.
And I'll be apologizing to the group. I probably will be getting a bite to eat here as we're doing this. Dinner's finally arrived.
Christina, you might want to make a public announcement about candidates, maybe every time a new candidate comes in, the ones that.
We're running behind. So Shadi, if you don't mind, would you log off and come back in about 10 minutes? Because we are running behind schedule. This message for Shadi.
Hello, Terry. Welcome aboard.
Good evening. How is everybody? Sorry
Doing
for being
fine.
a little premature. Yeah, thought it was going to be a little waiting room, so thought I would just hang out in there for 5 minutes. So I apologize.
That's okay. Terry, we're going to spend about 10 minutes together. We give you a chance to say something up front if you want to, and you always get the last word. And in between, each of us will be asking generally the same question to each candidate. So any thoughts you have before we start?
Oh, goodness.
And you can wait till the end. Either way.
I'm fine to do both. That's fine. I mean, I think you all know me and who I am, and kind of my contributions to the community here in San Ramon, how much I just adore this community and want to stay involved. So, you know that when I was employed with the school district, it was sort of I won't say a forced involvement, because it was an involvement that I truly embraced. But after that time, I just became a little disengaged, and so I want to become re-engaged. So that's my purpose for being here.
Super. Sabina, let you start it off.
Nice to see you, Terry.
You too, Sabina.
So I guess my question is, we have in San Ramon, we have a strip malls, and they are not very walkable right now. And so they're not very walkable. They're very more car heavy. People go in there, park, and kind of go to pick up their coffee and leave. What would be your vision of making those malls more walkable so people could spend more time, connecting with more businesses once they go to our shopping centers?
That's a good question. I think the city center has changed that perception a little bit. I think it's the one area of San Ramon that we're now able to do exactly that. It's more of a destination type of environment. I would probably try to enhance the walking and bike trails, and not just the trails, but sort of just the access by foot and by bicycle, more so to in and around the city in general, but in particular to our places of business where there are sort of strip malls and those kinds of things. So the Iron Horse Trail is, something that sort of links us with other communities, but I think there are ways for us to create arterials off of the trail that would allow people to sort of branch off of there via, pedestrian right-of-ways or by bicycle, and I think just more bike-friendly accommodations within those areas in particular would be helpful as well. From bicycle racks to, sidewalks that are slightly more accommodating, I think would be helpful. We live close to the Crow Canyon Shopping Center, so that I think that's a pretty good, case in point. We're able to walk there, and we do almost daily, but not a lot of people are. So, I would think those types of things, and I know that there's a big segment of our community that really is has a strong interest in this area that could certainly be engaged. There have been so many efforts to engage the bicycle community in San Ramon to, with projects like the Bollinger overpass or overcrossing, for example. But I think engaging people like that in that conversation would be helpful.
Scott.
Terry, thanks for applying.
Hey,
Good to
Scott.
see you again.
You too.
Have you seen any programs that were implemented at the local level that you would suggest we implement in San Ramon at a fairly low cost? What I mean by that is not programs that are state or federal driven, but programs that are driven by the local agencies.
By programs.
Anything you can think of that might help local businesses that was actually a city driven or I suppose we could go county, but mainly city driven to help local businesses?
I'm not familiar with any specific programs other than things that just try to drive promotion and marketing to small businesses in communities. And I think there are certainly ways that the city can help to do that. Economically, I'm sure that as we continue to see stimulus funds come our way, that small businesses in our community are the ones that I think truly can and should benefit from those kinds of efforts. So if it's not monetarily, I think there are ways that we can certainly, in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and in partnership with some of the Tri-Valley efforts that exist, I think there are things that we certainly could do as a city to assist businesses. And I would start by probably surveying them. I think it's, what we're seeing now is more curbside types of relief as some of these restrictions start to ease. And so now's the perfect time to engage these businesses, I think, as they are, especially restaurants and bars and things like that, as they're starting to kind of re-engage with the community in more than just a curbside or delivery or pickup kind of an approach. It would be a perfect time, I think, to survey some of those folks to see what exactly do they need in order to get back on their feet and start to serve residents as best they can.
Thanks, Terry.
Dave.
Yeah, Terry, you keep coming back. We're going to get you the Jeffy Oreo Award. My question's a little simpler than that. There are 4,500 homes being planned for City Center over the next 20 years. Economically speaking, is it better to have 4,500 homes in the city center or within walking distance, or 4,500 homes spread throughout the city?
Yeah, well, I would sort of partner that with Sabina's question too, and I would go with the latter. I think I don't know if I think it's a mistake for the city to put all of our eggs in the city center basket. I think it's a wonderful addition to what we have, and I think that people are, as these things start to lighten up, hopefully going to start frequenting places like that are more gathering places. But everybody needs help, right? And so I don't think it makes sense for us to just, strictly isolate residential patterns to one particular area of the city. It also has issues in regards to density and traffic and everything else, I think. So in my opinion, spreading it out is the best option.
Phil.
Hi, Terry. So what's the top skill you bring to a committee like this?
I would say my skill as a relationship builder, as somebody who has experience in community engagement. It's something that I sort of take pride in, something that I would like to put to use a little bit better within the confines of city government. Also, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of representation in the Twin Creeks area neighborhoods. We've lived here for 20 years now and love this community, but also love this neighborhood. And I think sometimes this area of San Ramon tends to feel a little disconnected. And so I think that's another thing that I would sort of bring to the table is trying to connect people within this area of San Ramon.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Terry, in a minute we have left, you get a chance to have the last say. So anything you want to share with us before we move on to the next person?
Sure. You know, I've worked in partnership really at a deep level with the city of San Ramon, not only, you know, as a government agency, but I think within the community at large, as far as my community involvement goes when it comes to serving on the board of the Chamber of Commerce or Leadership San Ramon Valley or Street Smarts or HeartSafe or so many of the other sort of community efforts and the Education Foundation, for example. But I think, you know, plain and simple, I love this community and I'm passionate about maintaining the quality of life that we currently enjoy. I do my homework. I try to come prepared and I try to look at every program, project, issue that comes before an advisory committee like this with fresh eyes, with an unbiased approach and perspective, and really overall and above all is a sense of collaboration with staff and whoever my colleagues would be on the committee.
Great, Terry. Thank you so much. We'll be making our decision this evening, and the Madam Clerk will be getting back to people in the first couple of days afterwards.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Terry.
Everyone. Good to see you all.
Take care.
Thank you.
So our next candidate is Shadi Shazbek. Doesn't look like he has logged in yet. Do you have your the Patience is in?
Is Patience there? Let her in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chatty was here.
I think we told him to come back
Yeah.
after 10 minutes.
Yeah. Do you want to interview Patience or do you want to wait for Shadi?
Give him a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
We're already running 20 minutes late.
there he is.
Here he is.
Okay.
So I'm going to let Shadi in, and then Patience, would you mind logging off and logging back in around 6:02, please?
Great. Hello, Shadi. Good to see you.
Let me see.
There you go.
There you go. How are you?
Fine. Good to see you this evening. Thank you for joining us
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
as we do this experiment and do our first Zoom interview. So we were all learning. We'll have about 10 minutes together. We'll give you
Okay.
a chance for any introductories you want to do, and then we'll each ask you a question, and then you get the last say at the end. Is that fair enough?
Sounds good.
So any comments to start, or would you want to go right into the questions?
Really appreciate the opportunity tonight. I know I was one of the late appliers. There was a glitch in me getting in the interview process. So I appreciate that being considered for the position again. And hopefully I'm selected because I really enjoy being on the committee and look forward to continue.
No worries at all. I asked the first question this round. as opposed to what we think we should be doing in terms of this pandemic economic crisis, what do you see as the most immediate barriers that are going to be in the way for recovery?
It's a good question. We're dealing with this in my professional organization right now, and it's new territory for everybody, both on the public sector and on the private sector. So I think one of the challenges is to, as a city, is to find out what we can do to help our businesses survive and continue to thrive in this environment. And I was really happy to see what Steve posted the other day about resources to our businesses and hiring a consultant to help them get through the PPP program or some of the federal programs that have been made available, or the state, to help them stay afloat and weather the storm that we're going through. And I think that shows leadership, really due to all of your leadership in getting this set up and help the organization, our businesses survive. And we need to continue to do that in terms of helping them find resources, because most of them don't know or don't have the resources or the time to be able to find those kind of programs and help. And through our professional organizations, our day jobs, collectively we need to find, use all the resources we have to leverage that to help them stay in business. And marketing them as well, continue to market San Ramon as we have been doing before, maybe probably more so now than before, to continue to attract businesses and conferences and meetings and events to the city, that in a way that we can help our retail, our hospitality, and our just general services business to stay afloat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Phil.
Hi, Chadi. Thanks for applying again and serving. What do you think the top skill is that you've brought to the committee?
My background is in transportation, and housing and transportation are kind of the two ingredients to a successful economy and vibrant economy in a city, and also the lifestyle and the experiences that you go through as a resident of the city. That's a very important part of what I bring here, is that having those kind of skill set that I bring to the city and the planning effort. So I find myself bridging the gap between just the pure planning process and general plan updates and all the stuff that you deal with as a city, and also the economic part of the city, that the economic engine of the city. So my transportation background is like the veins in your body. That's the one that kind of connects everything together and carries the blood. And I think I've been able to help. Particularly, I joined at the time when we were doing the strategic plan for the city, and I found that process very rewarding personally, and I enjoyed that I was able to contribute to that and insert some elements that were not before in there. And now that the strategic plan is done, I would like to continue to serve so that I can see how we can actually implement it.
Thank you.
Dave.
Yeah, Chadi, we're planning we're not planning, but Bishop Ranch is 4,500 homes around the city center. Economically, is this better to have the 4,500 homes in city center or spread throughout the city?
I think, Dave, you serve on the ABAG board and multiple other regional boards, so you know what's going on. But basically what happens is that we are going to have to build somewhere in the city to meet our housing allocation and continue to qualify for funding for our, for pavement and other sources. And we have to decide where that housing is best. And given that we have a city center that's really coming along after long years in planning, it is worth considering having those housing in the city center, close to transportation and close to businesses and retail and services, so you don't increase your vehicle miles traveled and congestion and on your city streets where they don't need to be. They do have, however, they have to be planned correctly. And I'm happy that the Bishop Ranch is going through down the process. I was hoping that I could see a more aggressive plan from them in terms of connectivity to bike and ped and other modes of transportation rather than just driving. But I'm also on the other side happy that they're doing multi-use plans, not just pure housing. So you can bring some of these retails closer to them so they can achieve a lot of the services they need without having to get in a car and drive somewhere. They can, spend their money here. They can help our businesses thrive as well because they continue to spend them, and we don't increase congestion on our local roadway network. And it's a first step in the right direction, but I think it could be even better with more planning.
You're muted, Mayor.
Scott?
Okay. Thanks again for applying and for participating this last couple of years. Have you seen any programs that implemented at the local level in other communities that you think we ought to be implementing and that are low cost?
Any specific programs you have in mind? Any particular program?
If you had seen or heard of anything, maybe something they're doing in Reno or something they're doing in Fresno or someplace, that doesn't cost a lot of money. You specifically mentioned what we're doing with Townsend and Associates, and you're right on. That is going to help. Have you seen any other programs that you think might benefit our local businesses? Or can you think of a program that might help?
Yeah.
Or a process for developing one?
I think one thing that if I have the chance to serve again, one thing that I would love for the EDAC to take on is to see what we can do about weekend business. What we heard from our hotel groups that they don't have a problem filling out the rooms during weekdays because of weekday business travel. However, they seem to have a higher vacancy than they would like during the weekend time frame. And I think that's part because these are events that happen on weekends that for one reason or another don't happen, or there's not enough of them in San Ramon. And that has to be part of two parts. I think one is because we need to partner with other organizations that do events, whether it's sports events or entertainment events or whatever types of events. We need to remind them that San Ramon is on the map and it has the capacity to hold events like that on the weekend. And two is we need to offer people who come for an event to San Ramon something other than the event itself. So we need to, as a city, offer them other things that they can do here, whether it's tours or hikes or biking or other activities that would make the event attractive or the place more attractive for organizations to host events on the weekend here. And I don't see a lot of those in the city, and I hope we can find a way to change that. And maybe partly some infrastructure work that requires connectivity. The walking district is a perfect example of what a nice idea to have be able to be at a conference on the weekend or an event, but have your breakfast in the morning at the hotel and go take a walk around the city and explore with some nice signage. But we also could do other things from a promotion standpoint to promote the city and what the city has to offer. So that's one area I think we could do better. And we could do, other things as well for retail business as well.
Thanks.
Sabina, go ahead.
Hey, nice to meet you, Chadi.
Nice seeing you too.
So I had a quick question around our shopping malls. There are a lot of San Ramon shopping malls are more centric around driving, and so people come in their cars and they'll, go to one store and leave from there. What is your vision of making those shopping malls more walkable for our residents?
So that's something I'm very passionate about because I've been working on that exact idea since I joined, 3 years ago. And it's now as part of the strategic plan. My idea about that is we've talked about city center for years, and now city center is a reality. And what I want to do is I want to connect city center to other shopping malls, whether it's the marketplace, whether it's Crook Canyon Common Place, or some of these other neighboring shopping centers. And we're planning the pedestrian bridge across Bollinger Canyon, which would be nice to have that connection. So my vision is to actually create a pedestrian mall that connects city center to the commons, the Crook Canyon Commons. And along that pedestrian mall have places for people to sit, listen to music, to have live performances, to do those pop-up retail concepts where you have kiosks with vendors that you can rotate over on a monthly basis. So there is always something new for people to come and see. So you have always something to look for. It's not the same vendors all the time. So we have an opportunity to create that through the Bishop Branch question that was asked earlier, because Bishop Branch is planning that connection block by block to convert those empty parking lots for most of the time, surface parking lots, into a combination of residential and retail or office and retail that will be inviting for people to walk and linger around and have a good experience as they walk past from one shopping area to another shopping area. So they don't have to drive to city center, then get in the car and drive to the commons, then get in the car again, drive back to marketplace. They can actually stroll with their kids in a stroller or bike or walk, down that path. And the space, the physical space for it is available, which is perfect for us to go down that path, start creating those elements as the sites become more and more developed. The second, more important part of that plan as well is to really leverage the Iron Horse Trail. We have a golden opportunity with the Iron Horse Trail that really right now it's being used quite well for recreation, but it doesn't do anything for retail because it doesn't have the connections. You can't jump off the Iron Horse Trail and go across because the only places you can cross is Bollinger Canyon, Crook Canyon, and Norris Canyon, few places that's not connected. And there's nothing on either side. So,
Patty, thank you very much. We've come to the close of our time here. I really appreciate you volunteering to do this again. And I think within a day or two, we're going to vote tonight. We'll get a chance, the city clerk, to get back to you in terms of our decision, okay?
Okay,
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good seeing you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To the next person ready to log in?
Yep, is Patience, and let me just bring her in right now.
I kept losing my connection, and then I found out my son was downloading a really big game. And I'm like, can we not have these downloads happening while I'm having my meeting? So I'm like, what's going on? My Wi-Fi is just going out the door.
Darn those.
Hello, Patience. How are you?
Hi, good evening, good afternoon.
Good evening. Thank you for Zooming with us this evening. We're going to
My
spend
pleasure.
We're going to spend about 10 minutes together. We're going to ask you some questions, and you get a chance at the end to have any closing comments you want to make. So we're going to start off with
sounds good.
Sabina. Sabina, you ready to go?
Yeah. Hi, Patience. How are you?
Sabina, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Pleasure to see you as well. So my question is around our shopping centers. They're very car-centric. So, people drive in, go to their favorite shop or store or wherever, and then they generally drive out. So if you were on the Economic Development Committee, what would your vision be to make our shopping malls more connected and walkable so that, once somebody goes to a shopping center, they go to and visit a few more businesses and walk to a few more businesses? So I would love to hear your vision.
So I would say that to make our shopping centers more connected, marketing is key. Ability of cross referral between the businesses on each center. You know, having marketing signs that shows when somebody is coming out of, let's say, the city center, and then there's marketing that shows that if you cross the road, you get your Pete's Coffee, and Target is right down the road. And by the way, AT&T has a store there. And if you go down, you can go to get some fresh fruits from, you know, kind of direct them that we have other shopping. We have marketplace with Trader Joe's. So basically using marketing and cross referral. So if they are shopping at one location, let the merchants help each other also by listening to their clients when they come in and helping each other refer them to the next location that might have something else that they need. And that shows the community support. When I shop for my kids' stuff, and then you say, oh, you like, you're buying kids' clothes today, are they going to a birthday party? Oh, that's awesome, we have a shoe shop down the road. Or did you know that, you know, there's an event going on for children down the road? So again, word of mouth, excitement, enthusiasm about a collaborative community that is here to support each other. And then city marketing and advertising and signage that directs people, and making it convenient also and safe for people to walk from one place to the other, not just drive. So when they drive, they park their car. They don't need to pick up their car there. They should be able to cross to the next place. But then that would entail information that there is connectivity between these resources.
Great, Scott.
Muted, Scott.
You're on mute.
Thank you for applying and being an alternate in the past. I want to ask if you have seen any programs implemented at a local level that you think that San Ramon might want to pursue, either the near term or the far term. But what I mean by local, it's not a federal or a state program, but it's a city level, community level program. Have you seen anything like that, or can you think of one?
So I'm trying to understand when you say community program to possibly enhance economic development, is that what we're saying? Or make the city more attractive?
We just hired Townsend and Associates to work with our small businesses to make sure they get access to the grants and the PPP and things like that. Have you seen anything else that you think that San Ramon ought to try to help our businesses?
To be honest with you, I think San Ramon is doing a great job right now as it is. It's probably one of the leaders in what's going on in the industry. In my field as a business services manager for the county, I participate in a lot of webinars right now. And the mayor, the city manager, elected officials, Supervisor Anderson, the weekly meetings they do on Fridays, which I've been participating in, has been very, very helpful, because we're in an unusual environment right now where information is changing so rapidly in these unprecedented times. And I think that San Ramon, yes, there's always room to learn something else, but I just want to acknowledge that we are on top of it in terms of the city, our council. They are all doing a great job disseminating that information, giving that opportunity. I welcome our businesses and information to go about the county has meetings on economic recovery that is going on right now, how to get people back to work and open up businesses. Supervisor Anderson holds that at 1:30 every day. Today was one of those meetings. If we encourage our businesses to get on that call, they'll get great information. So basically, our city continuing to do what they're doing, which is the weekly town halls, and then doing that process, continue to bring in the right people to the table to share information, getting the feedback from the community. Who do they want to hear from? What do they want to hear? And then encouraging them to join other communities out there that are sharing information. For one, I would love us to talk about how, when we do get out of the COVID environment, I would like our community to talk about how to have a fun environment for our children. Something like, where the kids can go and play after school, recreational places. We have the city center that is up there, but there's a lot of shopping. The kids still go to Stone Ridge or go out to have fun. So I would like us to bring in to talk about how we can create an environment where our kids on weekends or holidays stay in San Ramon and have some fun activities, play game, arcade or something. That is something that I hear that is lacking really, and the children would love to do that. Also, if there is a way that, you know, just getting our people to stay here, even the shopping that we have right now, we do have the shops that have just opened, but also people are saying they can't afford it. Is there any way that we can do something to bring in some shops? And again, my ideas are in conflict with the current environment where retail is struggling. So, so to conclude this, I want to say that the city is on top of communication by doing their weekly Friday meetings. I encourage that, and I encourage more marketing to citizens to join this call so they can get information.
Great. Dave.
As soon as I'm unmuted. You may have heard there's Bishop Ranch has a 4,500 home plan for housing around or near city center, certainly within walking distance. Economically, is it better to have the 4,500 homes near the city center or spread throughout the city?
Frankly, I think it is a good idea to the way that it's been located with the proximity to the freeway and the businesses. So I think that it would help our, you know, we're talking about how do we get people to move around and support these businesses as well. The city center will be a good attraction because these people can go to lunch, get off work, go there, hang out, have a meeting, like a cafe style. I think I support the idea of the city having them clustered around the city center. Economically, I think it is a good move.
Phil, go ahead.
Hi, Patience. I'm actually, I got a pretty good sense. So I'm going to pass just to keep us more on schedule. Appreciate your patience in all this as well. Thank you.
People love to say that.
Oh, yes, lots of enthusiasm.
Too easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We always want to give you the opportunity to finish with any kind of comments you want to make to finish this up. So anything you'd like to share with us that you haven't done so far?
Okay, so I want to say that, frankly, I feel like I'm excited about potentially getting in on this opportunity. I've been attending the meetings. I was an alternate on EDAC from San Ramon Chamber when I was on the board of directors. Currently, I'm on the board of directors for Concord Chamber, but I belong to the state economic development bodies. And in Contra Costa County, I support economic development. So I bring a lot of information current from meetings that I attend everywhere and knowledge that I can continue to share with the EDAC committee. I live like just half a mile from here. I'm a resident of San Ramon. I'm very, very passionate about our city. I'm proud of our police. I'm proud of our city and the things we've done. Our council is doing a great job. Again, I brag about it at every meeting I go across the county. I think I'm a great ambassador for San Ramon, and in my role in the county, as well as on a personal level, I am invested in San Ramon, and I want to see it continue to do even better. So
Great.
I will bring my best to the table.
It sure sounds like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be making our decision this evening, and the Madam Clerk will be getting back to everybody in the next day or two.
Okay, you stay safe and blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Is our next speaker ready?
It doesn't look like Pallavi is signed in yet.
Okay, we'll take you let us know. We'll take a quick break, but I'll be listening, okay?
Sure.
Nobody's signed in, huh?
Well, hey, Dave, if you run across Chatty at Kimberly Horn?
You're just point of reference, we're still live streaming.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm actually trying to eat some dinner right now.
So Sabina, did you go outside at one point? Oh, you're muted.
I did go outside because I could not figure out what was going on with my internet. I'm like, if I go outside, will I get this better? And then I'm like, what are you guys doing? Something's up. And my son's like, yeah, I have like I don't know how many gigs of game I'm downloading. So I'm like, can you stop that?
Torpedoed.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He just built his.
Pallavi's entered, so let me go ahead and.
He just built a computer, so a new gaming computer while he's sheltered in place.
Great. Well, welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for applying. In the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to be spending some time together on Zoom, asking you some questions. Excuse me. And then at the end, you get a chance to have any comments you want to fill us in at the end, okay?
Sure, no problem.
All right. I get to start this time. And as you know, we're in the middle of some rather interesting economic times.
Yeah.
As opposed to what you think we should be doing, share with us what you think are some of the barriers that we're going to have to be confronted with in moving forward.
I mean, given the fact this is an economic advisory board, the major issue might be just people not spending as much money as they used to. I mean, I'm a shopaholic. I can claim I do buy a lot of things, but I myself have cut down on stuff. And it's generally in people being cautious about buying things, and also people may not having the means wherewithal to buy things. That would be a big concern, because for whatever we try to expand within the city and add more shops or whatever, maybe something to bear in mind in terms of what people would buy and may not be as interested in buying given the current circumstances.
Good point. Phil.
Evening.
Hi.
So, yeah, I know my credit card bills have been a lot smaller. I'm amazed. I'm like, wow, this is kind of good.
Smiling too much, Sabina.
But what's the top skill that you believe you would bring to a committee like this?
Sure. Just a citizen within the community for sure. My background is not that I'm not a small business owner or any of that. I work in software. I work at Oracle, but primary interest in this committee is to obviously get involved in how our city does what it does. That's primarily the interest. And second, given the fact that it's something to do with how we bring the economic improvement within the community, certainly an area of interest for me. Again, I do believe that as a person of this community, I should be able to bring the viewpoint of somebody, a common person. I mean, I think this is what I had said in the application too when I filled it out. Just a concerned parent mom who is in the community. And I think what we bring, whatever this committee decides, I'm hoping I can contribute towards that from that perspective.
Great. Dave.
Yes, Pallavi,
Hey.
my credit card bill's going, no. City Center is planning on putting in about 4,500 homes over the next 20 years. Economically, is it better to have the 4,500 homes in and around City Center or 4,500 homes spread throughout the city?
I don't know if it's not like a yes or no answer. I mean, not a black and white answer. According to me, it depends on several factors. Yes, I mean, there are advantages to having it around the city center. So hopefully that would improve the foot traffic to the city center, which for people to get stuff, including things like such as our farmers market, which I really love, by the way. Maybe people would go to, buy their vegetables from there as opposed to going to any of the other places, I guess. But also at the same time, I think that one thing to consider would be traffic congestion. I mean, it is just so many lanes you can add on a given street, I guess, and building more houses around it might increase the traffic around that area, which might be a factor to consider. And I'm sure there are several more, but I don't think so there's a yes or no answer. My preference would be to certainly build it around the city center to help more traffic to the city center, especially given the current conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Scott. You're on mute, Scott.
Okay, thank you for applying. Have you seen any programs implemented at a local level, like a city level, that you'd like to see implemented in San Ramon for economic development? I'm not talking about state level programs or federal level programs or really big expensive programs. Have you seen any programs? And if not, could you think of a process where we could develop some programs to help economic development?
Yeah, I can't think of any specific program from another city, but my one of the things I am certainly interested in how our city will help maybe local businesses. When I say local, an entrepreneur maybe within San Ramon or somebody say in the Tri-Valley area who are trying to maybe set up something. Will we have any programs around that for somebody to, or will we support such an endeavor and what the city can do for that? That would be an area of interest for me for sure. Thank you.
Sabina.
Hi, Pallavi. Nice to meet you. And thank you so much for applying.
Thank you.
So my question is around our current shopping malls. They're mostly geared towards drivable places where people will drive, park their car, pick up their favorite beverage or grocery or whatever, but they won't go to other shopping centers or other shops or businesses within that. What is your vision of making our shopping malls more walkable and pedestrian friendly?
When you say within, like as in they just don't visit one store, maybe more stores?
Yeah, so for example, they go to Pete's Coffee, but then, there might be another store there, a Safeway or a restaurant or something. So how do we encourage them to visit more businesses while they're there shopping for just going to one of the stores?
Sure. This is something I think I personally saw in the city center and maybe can be done in a bigger way, where I saw those kind of advertisements happening, which shows about, hey, you can be actually renting this place and doing something here kind of a thing, but maybe that can be used to promote what's happening within our, say, for example, if I take our mall as the example, whatever promotions may be happening that day by a certain by whichever businesses which exist there, maybe showcase that as soon as people enter, at least have it in the places where people enter or exit, so they can actually prominently enough so they can see and maybe be attracted by that and hopefully go forward. Maybe having some sort of an app, and I know everybody is on their mobile phones these days, so having an app for the city center itself. So when people come in, people can access the app to see, what kind of options are there today, any new promotions by any new business. It can also provide information about what we have new in the city center, any of those kinds. So hopefully that can help improve the traffic. There are several other things. I mean, just for people to know what businesses exist, maybe some sort of promotional event. It can be even tie up with, say, like I work for a PTA for a school, so I know we generally have tie-ups where we will say, hey, if you go eat in this place, you get whatever, you get a percentage off, and some of that money comes to the school. So making our businesses in that area tie up with our schools or any other, like even with our maybe police station, whichever that might be, but to promote that businesses itself. So something along those lines, just so that people get, I guess, more interested in what other thing might exist there, rather than just the one store which they generally go to.
Thank you very much. What comments, if any, do you want to share with us before we take off at the end of our conversation?
I do have a question. I mean, given the way we started, given the current condition, which is hard. I mean, I just read about our governor announcing, we were supposed to have a surplus in our budget at the end of the fiscal year, but now we are expecting a deficit, just given the current conditions. How and what are going to be the priorities for this advisory board, given that situation?
That you would make substantial contributions financially to help the city.
I'm all for it.
Leaving up that charge card.
Looking just for smart people to give us ideas and their thoughts. We very much believe a city that's engaged with its residents and citizens gets good advice and good direction and a good finger on the pulse of what people are thinking. So that would be your role. I want to thank you so much for applying, and within the next day or two, we're going to let you know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Christina, is the next person ready to go?
Your 6:30 has arrived, but 6:20 has not logged in yet. So we could either skip ahead, or do you want to wait?
What do you say, folks?
I say we're at
So
6:30.
let's do the 6:30. You showed up.
Let's do the 6:30.
All right, so 6:30 is Lily.
Lily, okay. Hello, Lily. You're on. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay, hi.
How are you doing,
How are
Lily?
you?
Fine. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time to talk to us. Over the next 10 minutes or so, we've got some questions we want to ask you, and then we'll give you a chance at the end to share any of your thoughts in terms of about serving in this position. But I'm going to start off by asking our Vice Mayor to start the questions with you.
Hey, Lily. Nice to
Okay.
meet you. Thanks for
Nice to meet you too.
applying. Yeah, thanks so much for applying. So my question is around our shopping malls. Most of our shopping can everybody hear me okay?
You're on.
Okay, good.
You're good.
Okay, so my question is, a lot of our shopping malls are more geared towards cars and, bikeability. Cars and drivability, where people will come to, one of the stores there, pick up, a coffee or a food item, or go to the grocery store, but then leave. What in your vision would make our shopping centers more walkable for people, where they would go and visit other stores while, they're there at the shopping center? So think of some of our strip malls and, I would love to hear your vision.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you for taking the time to discuss with me. So yeah, I think, I'm really looking forward to having a shopping area that is more walkable, especially San Ramon has a lot of family with young kids. That would be really awesome. So, in terms of making it more walkable, I think from the structure perspective, we could consider, have more sidewalk along the shops and making the structure, maybe the shops can be on the both sides of the shopping mall. So the structure will have a middle walkway in between. Of course, if it's already being fixed, it's hard to modify at this point. And in terms of the different type of shops. For instance, if we have things like a bookstore, and then we have things that would attract families, like the stores more kids friendly, then that will bring more family to that area, and then create a safe walking distance. And then one thing I know is that some of the cities, for the area that are intended to be walkable, they change the surface of the road from the regular, the concrete color into the red small pavers, so that when car drive over there, they would slow down because they feel, hey, this is a walkable area of the downtown or the shopping area. So I think from a construction perspective, we could do a structural review, but from the type of shops and the services we provide, if we make it more family friendly, then naturally attract more walking, customers. And then, so yeah, I think those are some beginning ideas I have. But I'm sure that if we have that intention, then another thing I usually would do is do a survey of the people coming to the shopping mall, or just more regularly in different nonprofit organization we're working with, and to see, what are the ideas they have for making it better, make it more walkable. I know some for the kids to play. So those are also good ideas to make things that are more walking friendly.
Great. Scott?
There have been programs implemented at the local level by cities across the nation. Have you seen any programs that have been helpful to the economic health of local businesses that you would like to see implemented in San Ramon? Or if you haven't, can you think of something or a process we could develop something?
We bring some state level program to the city level?
We hired a consultant to help our local businesses get grants and get the PPP money and things like that. Have you seen any other programs in the nation that designed to help their local business that aren't very expensive? And if you haven't, can you think of a way to develop one?
Yeah, so I'm quite a bit about education. So I think, some of the expensive program to implement, for instance, this is, I'm just thinking on the fly, okay? So I didn't.
Yeah, that's what these
quite
questions do.
prepare anything, right? So yeah, so because I know personally, for instance, I'm doing financial education and consulting, right? So for us, we always like to volunteer our time to offer, free educations to business owners, like the PPP program. And we've had at least 3 to 5 seminars to help business owners, and then educate them about how to get those free loan per se, and what are the process of doing so. So, so generally speaking, I would say if we want to implement things lightweight, yet very productive, I would say probably, and also it's a win-win situation. For instance, if we are bringing, professional services people that could volunteer their time to provide solid education and consulting to our business owners inside San Ramon, that will help make their business more, productive, and then, save them money, save their tax, get more lower interest loan. And then by doing so, number one, we educate them. Number two, we start to create a community that will let them, exchange ideas. That's what I usually do anyway. In my business, is that I connect all the dots. So by people having a a community, they always be creative. So those things doesn't really cost the city much of the money. Usually, if we could just use our channel to promote those knowledge to our business leaders, and then maybe sometime give our space, right? So if we have a conference room or things like that, they can use, because sometimes it's hard to rent those place as well for doing those programs. So those are the non-costly options that we could contribute. Yet our value is to organize those people together so that they can not only learn together, but also bounce off ideas and create new opportunities inside San Ramon.
Thank you.
Dave.
Forgot I hadn't asked the question. Lily, the city center has a 4,500 home plan over the next 20 years that they're working through planning committee commission right now. Economically, is it better to put the 4,500 homes in and around city center or spread out throughout the city?
You may have been lost.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Tough question.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let me put it this way. I think sometimes there's no absolute right or wrong, but if you ask my preference, I would have them spread out in San Ramon. So the reason being, if you put all those homes into one central location, it will create traffic issue and it will create all the resources issue in a way that it's too crowded, and then it will add the pressure to the school districts, and then traffic issue, and then possibly other even just resources like library, parks would be quite crowded. And then in terms of spreading out, it does not mean we spread out evenly, right? Because each area of the city has a different character. So it really where it's livable, where it's suitable for residential houses, that particular zoning needs to be taken into consideration. And also the current density of the population in that particular area needs to be taken into consideration. And also the supporting structure, the home, the parks. But I think, when it comes to city planning, it's not so simple. Right, so I do work with a number of my clients. They are big developers, in US and in China. So I do have insights into lots of real estate development projects, and then and helping them with some of the ideas. So I would say there's many factors taken into consideration, but generally speaking, putting everything into one center spot does seem to create pressure to the city in many different ways. And then ideally, when we spread them out, we would do a lot of more consideration into their zoning, their current situation, their schooling, parks, right? Even PG&E, right? And all those things need to be considered before we allow the home to be deployed into those locations. And of course, the employment support, right? And the traffic and all that. So yeah, it's not a simple question. But I guess I just share, a few perspectives we would want to consider before, offering our, advice to the citizens.
Thank you, Lily.
Or to the developers. Yeah, you're so welcome.
Thank you. Phil.
Lily, thanks for applying. What's the top skill that you bring to a committee like this? And I need a quick answer.
Okay. So
1 minute.
I'm an expert, but I'm a financial advisor. So I do know how money works. And right now I'm managing Papa's money, right? So I'm the treasurer for the Papa Tri-Valley chapter. So I do deal with money matter. That's one side. And also my background prior to running my own business, I was a senior manager for Intel and Samsung in a high-tech research department for about 16 years. So I also know high-tech quite well. So I'm saying that, depending on what we want to do in the city, I have a lot of free labor resources for, like creating high tech. So those are the resources I can bring in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lily. We will have an opportunity
You're
this
welcome.
evening. We're going to be voting in the next this evening, and we will let everybody know within the next day or so on the outcome of our votes. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate
you.
everyone taking the time to interview me.
Lily,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a good
so
evening.
much.
Bye-bye.
You take care. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Is our next speaker ready?
Not quite. I know Dwight keeps logging in and logging out, so we'll just wait a couple of moments. I know.
Okay.
I think
I'm gonna
he's
take another
trying.
bite.
I think he's trying not to interrupt the last person. So
Right. Got it.
Christina, I had a quick question. So I also serve on the board of APAPA with Lily. So do I hold my vote back here? Or is that a conflict of interest or no?
No, no,
No, not at all.
not at all.
Just confirming.
I'm gonna take a bite.
You
so-
two were, if you were in business together, you'd have a conflict, but
Mayor, what are you eating? Making me hungry.
Which beer are you drinking?
Gatorade.
Is that a fire starter?
It was the other one.
you don't have a cat, do you, Bill?
I tossed them out already. All right, I'm gonna take another bite.
Yeah, Phil, those credit card bills have been pretty good.
It's amazing. It's just, well, I don't have to pay, I'm not driving 400 miles a week to work, things like that. They add up quick.
Or
And travel, I think a lot of it just, you end
Yeah.
up making a trip somewhere or the other.
Exactly. Yeah, I was supposed to be in Alaska starting today. So
I was supposed to be in Hawaii next week.
and the prices now are amazing.
yeah, we're going to get up there this summer. I had helped my brother move, but
You're gonna try?
Oh.
No, that's a long flight. That's
Oh,
not
are you gonna,
same as
you're gonna
Hawaii.
try to go up, or you are gonna go up?
I expect them going to. They started to reopen, but it remains to be seen. It's fluid. My brother needs to move, and one of my sisters and I are both going to go up and help him at various points.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna give everybody a 2-minute break, okay?
All right.
Okay.
this is still streaming, so please mute and turn off your camera.
Will do.
Thank you. Hi, Dwight.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for your patience. The council's taking just a couple minute break, so thank you for your
I don't blame him.
patience.
Yeah, it's all good. I appreciate it.
It's
How's your
our
night?
first virtual interview, so we're learning as we go. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I felt so bad. I clicked in and I see their interview. Like I click back out real fast, and I didn't want to make anyone like uncomfortable. But anyway.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, we got a little behind on the schedule, so we're slowly catching up, but not quite there. So
Not to worry. Take your time and enjoy it. My kids are eating ice cream, so I bought myself plenty of time.
Okay.
That's what I have to do on the way home.
That's called babysitting 101.
We've been going for almost 2 hours. We took a quick break, so.
Oh, I saw when I responded to the email, I noticed there was a lot of times throughout the evening, so I get it. We just went over our site goal with our panel at it went from 3 to 5 o'clock. It was a strong 2 hours of going over our site plan, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. And like, it's all virtual. So yeah, there's little kinks here or there and breakout rooms.
So before we start, can I just ask Shudong and Will Williams to just log back in another 10 minutes or so? I apologize. We're a little behind schedule and we're just trying to iron out the logistics of this. Thank you.
I wonder if Scott thinks that abbreviation is for Commodore Scott Perkins.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Nice to be so lucky.
For those who are listening, Scott is a naval officer.
Oh.
Did you make Commodore?
No, captain.
Captain, okay. All right.
It's like a British Navy term, isn't it?
Okay, we are going. We've been live the whole time, but we will continue. Dwight, thank you for allowing us to take a quick break after 2 hours of talking.
Absolutely.
Over the next 10 minutes, we're going to get a chance to ask you some questions. And at the end, you'll get a chance to share any thoughts you have to wrap it up.
Okay.
I'll start it off this time. As you know, we're going through some rather interesting economic times. What do you view, excuse me, what do you view as some of the barriers that might be in the way for recovery?
Yeah, I could speak to that. I could speak to that in different directions here, but I'll try to focus it more on the economic development side, what I'm kind of shooting for here. The barriers we see are going to be what everyone keeps saying is the new normal. How do we structure and align what we're doing and have rules in place for the safety of our community? And that's definitely one of the goals is with the Economic Development Committee is to have the safety as the #1 priority for our citizens, our city here. So getting those things back up and going, getting everything that was just created, the lot, the city center, the downtown area now, getting those back up safely and being able to support them. Also with our parks and what we could do to support those parks and getting everyone back out there in a safe manner. So those hurdles are going to be the things that have just came out today, because every day we're getting new information, is in order to open up certain places, are you able to have proper hand sanitizing stations? So are we going to be having those in all of our locations now? Are there going to be inroads and outroads? So in our retail shops, are you going to go in one door, shop to the left, and then wrap around and exit on the right? So you're keeping your social distancing. Are we going to have areas or places in order to go into a movie theater to check temperature? I mean, how extreme is this going to be? But there's different parameters that we need to adhere to, and we need to also put in place and communicate to our city that these are the steps that we need to take in order to keep everyone safe. But we also want to encourage people and make it easy for them to get out and motivate them to get back into our retail space. So the hurdle is having those things in place, but keeping it simplified and comfortable for our community to feel comfortable to go out and join all our retail and enjoy our spaces.
Exactly. Phil.
Dwight, thanks for replying. What's the top skill that you would bring to a committee like this?
My top skill I would have to say my connections to people, to be able to listen to people and respond to them in a way that they not only feel heard, but that I'm able to understand and relate and have a dialogue with them to where they feel confident and comfortable to come to me. I feel that's my strength. Not only on top of that, what am I at now? 20 plus years in the city of San Ramon, being come up since 1997. It's been, oh wow. So I'm getting up there. So since 1997 to go through our school, to go through our school system, to go through our district and to see how it's grown. I learned to drive out in the new Doherty area, which is now like fully established and fully, I have that historical knowledge on top of just having that connection piece and being able to relate to everyone.
Thank you.
Dave.
Yes, Dwight, as you may know, there are new plans from Bishop Ranch to put 4,500 homes over the next 20 years around or near the city center. We'll say within walking distance. Economically, is it better to have the 4,500 homes there or interspersed throughout the city?
That's an excellent question. I took a look at the retail analysis report that was done years back, and it still pertains to this day. It's quite lengthy and has a lot of detail, and it's something I kind of want to continue to build on. But one of the things that I would like to know is comparing that to looking at other cities and how that looks. Having housing right next to retail doesn't necessarily mean that's going to increase the retail business. It could actually do the opposite and could deter people from going to those businesses, because it's creating a lot of congestion in one area. I would say spreading it out and using that open space for other retail and other things like the open spaces we have, having the walking trail around the lake, using that to encourage more people to be a gathering spot as a place to be. I have seen in other cities like in Fremont and other areas where they stack housing on top of retail shops. That doesn't necessarily mean that retail shop is going to get bombarded from the people above. They might be annoyed with the smell. They might be annoyed with the amount of people that are there, so they're going to stay away. So there's a lot of different things that factor into that, but that's just kind of my 2 cents. But I'm definitely open-minded and willing to listen and find new ways to kind of work with that and to see how we have a lot of buildings right now, and we have a lot of opens, a lot of even some vacant buildings. I mean, we're pretty low in the percentage. I was taking a look at some of the numbers, but I would like to see how that looks and to see if we can first get those people into those retail shops and continue to build what we've already started developing.
Bill, you got to unmute.
Sorry, Scott.
Hey, thank you very much for replying, Dwight. In some jurisdictions, you've seen that they've implemented local programs to help businesses. Can you think of any programs you might have read about or seen that you think we ought to implement in San Ramon? Now, these are local programs, not state or federal programs. And if you can't think of a program, can you think of a process we might use to develop a program?
You broke up a little bit, Scott. I'm sorry. Can you kind of rephrase or re-say that again?
Sure. You may have noticed that there are some local programs around the country to help local businesses weather the storm. Have you seen any that you think we ought to implement? Or if you haven't, can you think of a process that we should use? Maybe we could develop our own.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. I'm going to go small scale and then I'm going to go large scale, and we'll just, that would kind of be where my thought process is. On a small scale, citywide is I quickly go to, the parks. We encourage our people to use our parks. They're beautiful. We want to get people out there in a safe way. So it comes to rentals. It comes to facility rentals. Everyone's taking a hit on this. Every program that is ran through our city, every business is definitely taking at least a 20% hit, I imagine, if not more, through having been closed. So one of the things I thought of was, having the field rentals. Is there a way to work with our community to encourage people to get back out there again? So if our baseball teams or soccer teams, whatever we have going on, is there a way to work with them and find a medium that the city still benefits, where they're not losing money and they can now feel more encouraged to get back out there? So maybe we're having that average where our field rentals, we have our turf fields that are premium. We have our grass fields that are a little bit less per hour to rent. Is there a way we can meet in the middle and have one flat rate to help everybody out so they feel encouraged to get out there and rent our facilities again in our fields? So that's kind of a small scale. On a large scale, on our business end of it, I know one of the things that we've talked, we talked about, with where I work is there a way to, not necessarily you're not paying your rent, but is there a way to restructure it to where if you have a so-and-so many year lease, that we can add a few months, maybe 6 months onto the end of your lease? So instead of leaving us in December, can you now leave if you're going to leave, or maybe you're not, maybe you're kind of in between there, we're going to make your lease a little bit less, but we're going to tack it on to the end of it. So that way, you're able to sustain that until things get up and going again. So those are the two of the things I've been kind of thinking about, and also hearing about. It's not like I'm inventing something new, but those are the things I'm kind of listening and finding out that might be a strong way to keep our businesses going, so they're not taking that big hit.
Well, thank you.
Nina.
Nice to meet you, Dwight. Thank you so much for applying.
Nice to meet you.
So my question is around our existing shopping centers. They're geared towards more of a driving your car and things, whereas, somebody will go to a shop there and then leave. What is your vision of making them more walkable so that when somebody goes to a shopping center, one of our, 8 shopping centers that we have, they visit other businesses as well? How do you connect those businesses so it drives people to walk more within those malls? I would love to hear your vision.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that I often when I was younger and they were building the lot, and I was getting so excited, and I always, where I would go, where did I used to go? And I used to go to Walnut Creek, when I used to do my retail shopping. What made me walk around there? What made me want to go out and visit there? And, I think that what we want to do is, it's not just getting businesses in. We want to attract business, of course, but we want to have variety, and we want to have art, and we want to have structural design that's special, that attracts people visually to want to stay. So one of the things that we're working on in the city is the bridge. The bridge is going to be a beautiful addition to the city that allows people to not have to cross the busy Bollinger and slow down traffic. They're able to go over. That's going to be a wonderful addition to make people want to stay. You know, using already what we have, which is an amazing school district that works closely with our city to attract businesses to want to come and to stay. So when those businesses come, they're bringing in, we're having not the same cookie cutter businesses come in. We're having a variety of businesses. And then on top of that, we have people who want to live here because we have an amazing school district, raise a family. And then those people are going to use their creative minds and say, you know what? I've always wanted to open my own business. I'm going to open it in here in San Ramon because there's wonderful facilities. There's a beautiful downtown, and I want to try to open a business here. And the one example that comes to mind, again, I don't know them very well at all, but from my understanding is Dos Coyotes. Dos Coyotes is kind of a smaller business. I think they only have maybe one other in Sacramento that was very successful. But my understanding is the manager wife works at Doherty Valley. So she's a teacher. They live here and they're in the community. So those are like examples of bringing something new. And they give back to our city so much, which is wonderful. And they get involved, and having those things where those people are getting involved, and it makes us want to go there.
Great. Dwight, thank you so much. Any last minute quick little comments to make before we wrap everything up?
I really enjoyed, chatting with you guys, and I really appreciated the questions of asking my vision, because I do love to share my thoughts being a longtime resident here. If there's any other clarifying things that you would like to ask me, I'm happy to answer that. But if not, then my question to you is, I would love to hear from whoever would like to share about one of the things they love about San Ramon, and one of the things they would like to see in the future.
And because we get a pretty tight time frame, I don't think any of us can voluntarily do that for you right now.
Thanks, Dwight.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Great
much.
job.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you all. Take care.
All right. Madam Clerk, who's next?
Nice finesse there, Bill.
Our next candidate is
I'll bet he
William,
did the backstroke when he was in school.
but it doesn't appear to have logged in yet.
I want some quesadillas now. After
Really? Yeah, he was making me hungry.
I was going for ice cream.
Funny.
Come over and watch video games at Sabina's.
Yes, that's paused.
We have two left, William and Mrs. Ma.
Shudong.
Wrong. And they both have logged in, but have logged out because of the timing. So we're just.
Whoever logs in first is in.
I refinanced funded today. So,
Good rate.
Offended, huh?
Good rate.
yeah, Provident Credit Union's actually was started by the teachers union. So it's like 3 1/8. It's nice, good loan. Now, of course, you have to figure out how to pay for it for the umpteenth time, right?
A 15-year or 30?
30. But gonna treat it as something else.
Yep. The odds are you probably won't be in that house when the last payment's due.
Yeah.
You know, the sad thing is I've been in my house for 40 years. I had a 30-year loan, but the last time I refinanced, I only financed for 15 years, and I've only got 4 years left. So,
Wow, good for you. I remember when my parents paid their mortgage off. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
The oddity of it is it threw in $200 more each month.
Williams is in, so let me promote him.
We'll
Right,
do it.
Dave.
Hello.
Hi, Willie.
I mean,
Take off your mute. Oh,
Oh, William, good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
All right, well, we're going to spend about 10 minutes together, and we all have questions that we're anxious to ask you. And then you'll get a chance at the end to share any thoughts you have of anything you didn't cover during the questions. So we're going to start with our Vice Mayor with the questions. So I'll let Sabina start.
Hi, William. Nice to meet you. And thank
Nice
you.
to meet you, Sabina.
So my question is around our shopping malls. Our shopping malls are very much geared towards driving. You know, people will come in, drive, get, do their groceries or pick up their coffee and then leave. What is your vision for making them more walkable, where people, when they come, they spend some time go to other businesses, and are more walkable, if you will?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for that question. First of all, making a more user-friendly is very important. One of the things that can grow more generally is when you accommodate more of children around the mall. Most of the mall that we see these days is catering more for the millennium. Catering for the millennium has somehow exclude the older folks, I would say the moms that have kids that wants to be part of the mall are pretty much excluded. So there's not so much that a mother would do with children in mall, rather than the mall is more credited to entertain more of the millennial. So what we need to do, instead of us to create a mall where people will come in for a particular set of age group, we need to create a mall that comprises everybody, that is inviting for both people that have kids, people that doesn't have kids. Those kind of situations, we encourage people to come and stay. Then again, one thing that you're going to see, which I know is not common with San Ramon, understanding that it's a vibrant city and is a city that is not high crime rate. So, but again, security for people to feel comfortable when they come to the mall is very important too.
Okay, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you very much for applying. You've probably seen there have been some programs implemented at the city level around the nation. And I was wondering if you have seen or heard of any programs that you thought were particularly effective that we should implement. And if you're not familiar with any programs like that, can you think of a process where we could develop such a program that might help small businessmen?
Well, good question. Small business, as you know, is one of the backbone of our economy. I mean, if you go back 20, 30, 40, 50 years today, with that small business, you won't have most of these big businesses that we have today. One of the things that we encourage will be, first, we want to create a mall that contain all level of pricing. For example, I'll give you an example. When you create a mall that is a very high-end mall that doesn't care for the low-end affordable citizen, then you're creating a class distinction. One of the things that I saw when I was an expatriate in Jamaica, and I still think about it today when I say malls, is in Jamaica, you have the high-end mall in Montego Bay together with the low-end mall. So when you go into the mall from the airport, you cannot exit out of the mall back through the airport. You're going to exit the mall through the right-hand side. And when you are exiting the mall, you're going to see the low-end sellers in the same mall. So one thing that we struggle with our mall, think about most of the pharmaceutical stores. The main idea for you to walk behind and get to the pharmacy is for you to see the front end of the store. It's for you to be able to appreciate the front end of the store. That's why most pharmacies, most pharmaceutical companies, when they set up their retail pharmacy, they put the pharmacy in the back. So what we need to do in the mall, we want to create an avenue whereby when people come into the mall, they are not only going to appreciate where they're going to first, but they will appreciate moving around the mall to get to where they're going to. So everything should be centralized, whereby when you get to the front, you need to exit through the back. And that will be a control on that. And that is the thing. Okay, when we look at our mall here that we have on Bollinger, it's very easy for the customer to come into Starbucks, buy a Starbucks and leave. Other people will tell you that, well, it's a great convenience for me. I don't have to see things that I don't have to see. But on a business, as a businessman, that does not benefit other people that pay rent in the mall. How do they enjoy the benefit of having that same customer appreciate their store? So you want to create a mall that is really involving to other people.
Thank you very much.
Dave.
William, you probably have heard that Bishop Ranch is planning to build 4,500 homes in or within walking distance of the city center. The question is, economically, is it better to put the 4,500 homes there or spread out throughout the rest of the city?
Well, good question. Well, first of all, San Ramon is a city with a vibrant economic growth. Lots of big companies, a lot of opportunity. You can see Chevron is there, Bishop Ranch, a lot of great employers. Well, you gotta think about one thing. If we don't do it now, we're gonna do it somehow. I think it's a great idea. Spreading it around the city, one, we said, okay, it's going to reduce traffic. But regardless, it's a city that is growing. So I don't think spreading it around the city would be a great idea. I think concentration of where we're going to put it right now, the 4,500 block, would be the best thing. All we need to do is to understand how we're going to create an opportunity for a free flow traffic.
Great. Phil.
Well, thanks for applying. What's the top skill you bring to a committee like this?
Basically, I'm going to tell you guys that I'm not an economist. I don't predict what will happen in the future. I'm a businessman with an intent to become better. San Ramon is a city that I came to live. I was in Fremont about 19 years ago. I was living in Fremont when I had my kids and my kids were growing up. The first thing that I thought about, I said, where would be a better city for me to raise my kid? So I checked a lot of different cities and I found out that San Ramon was affordable for me at that time. And it's going to be a better opportunity for my kid in terms of schooling. So I decided to pick San Ramon. I'm not shocking that in 2009, San Ramon was rated 7th best city to raise kids in the United States. So that means as a businessman, I can be able to predict the future. So from 19 years ago to 2019, I have not failed. Then as a businessman, I decided to invest in San Ramon. I had 2 rental property in San Ramon that I rent out. I know at a point in time in 2007 or so, the housing market crashed. I had friends that bought homes in Antioch and Richmond and other cities. As a businessman, I never failed. The housing business crashed. I lost some money, but today I'm so proud that I've doubled what I paid when I invested in those property.
Thank you.
William, we know we're going through some rather interesting economic times. What do you view as the barriers for us to move forward and to break out into economic growth again?
First of all, one thing that I understand, economic disaster is not a stable situation. Growth must come from inside. And how do we understand the internal growth? San Ramon has a lot of viability. But based on all those acumen that we have in San Ramon, we need to understand the fact that there's an existing businesses that have done so well in San Ramon. How do we encourage those businesses to stay? I'm not saying that stimulus is the answer, because I don't know if the city can give that much stimulus to businesses that has employed and stayed in San Ramon for that long. But I believe that there should be some tax incentive. So we need to look internal, and those tax incentive that we're going to give to those businesses to encourage them to stay further, we need to get something back. How would they in turn invest those tax incentive into the business for a long-term growth is what we should be thinking about.
Good. William, thank you very much. We have one more person to interview, and then we'll be voting this evening. And our Madam Clerk will be letting everybody know our selections. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you, sir. And you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe.
Thank you, William. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Madam Clerk, looks like our last person is on board.
Yes, Shu Dong. Let me promote her.
Shu Dong.
There you go.
Good evening, Shu Dong. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor. Hi, I'm good.
Good to see you.
See you too.
Tilt your screen down a little bit more so we can see your face. Thank you so much. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes together. We have some questions for you.
Sure.
And then you'll get a chance at the end if you have any comments to make.
Okay.
I'll start off the questions. We know that we're at rather interesting times right now, economically. And not so much asking what you think we should do, but more importantly, what do you analyze as being the biggest barriers to the economy moving forward?
I didn't think this question, sorry. Well, I think from the stock, you can see not only some high-tech company weighted high, and then the industry, the real industry actually get a big impact, and the stock value is so low. I think that's the problem. This like the IT AI era is different from changes before. The change like industry from after we have a power, we make a lot of things automated. So we replace a lot of labor in agriculture. So we are modern society, and but AI and IT can't replace the current industry, in my opinion. So I don't think we should just value the IT and the AI that much. I know it's really important for online, like today we use Zoom. Those are not the major part in our daily life. So in daily life, we need more like refrigerators and the fans. And then as I'm an electrical engineer, I see a lot of knowledge, even though they're not considered as a high tech, but that involve a lot of knowledge, experience for engineering and construction, and those cannot be replaced by IT. So that's the big thing. The infrastructure right now for I work for PG&E, the infrastructure right now is really behind. So we cannot only have IT to be the major portion for the economic.
Okay. Phil.
Chidong, what do you consider to be the top skill that you would bring to a committee like this?
So like I said, I have a background on engineering and projects. So I see our city has like 1/3 of the money goes to capital projects for infrastructure construction. So I think I'm more experienced on that. Also, I actually I'm an immigrant and I'm a Chinese. I'm a woman, a mother, and so I moved from here to there, from there to different places. So I think I can bring different views to the panel, to the.
Thank you.
Dave.
Yeah, Chidong, you may have heard that Bishop Ranch is planning on putting 4,500 homes around or within walking distance of city center.
Mm-hmm.
Economically, is it better to have 4,500 homes there or spread throughout the entire city?
Entire city, spread out. So we
build them there or build them around the rest of the city?
Yeah, I see. I think I got the question. Thank you. So I think, in my opinion, we don't have to build a lot in the around the city center. So we can have hotels there, like a center of the city. Residential can be spread around. But for young generations, I know they want to have like an entertainment area. I've heard a lot of complaints when they live in San Ramon, why they don't want to live in San Ramon. I don't think they have an issue to drive only like a few minutes to have some area for entertainment at night. I know walking distance is nice. I don't think it's necessary because we don't have a park. If we have a park, then that's a different story.
Good. Scott.
Thank you for applying. You may have seen around the nation that there have been programs implemented at the local level to help businesses weather this economic storm. If you can remember any you think we ought to implement, could you describe it? And if you can't think of a one that you've seen that we implement, can you describe how we might go about the process of developing a program to help our local businesses?
I don't really know the thing we have done to help the local business. To be honest with you, I just know there's a farmer market. I think that's good to help. I see there are some stores nearby, and then for the mall we have. So I don't really know that really deeply.
Can you think of a way that we should try to develop a new program to help businesses?
What program?
It's a program to help business.
Okay.
And I mean more than one business, not help just one business, but to help many businesses in San Ramon. Can you think of a way we could develop a new program to help many businesses?
Okay. So I work in San Ramon. So I think the city, I don't really know any relationship, you know, what the city have done. So I haven't think about that. I have to think about a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Sabrina.
Hi, Shodong. Thank you so much for applying. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So my question is, we have a lot of shopping centers in San Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
They're mostly geared towards cars, right? You drive in your car, you pick up your coffee and you leave. What is your vision if you could imagine a place where people would stay there, walk around the shopping center? What would make that shopping center attractive for people to shop for more stores, stay there, spend some time there?
Okay.
So we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, actually, I went to our city center. It's great. I don't really go there often, to be honest with you. But I sometimes go to Walnut Creek city center. So compare these two, we can see the differences. So their city center is not really in the community residential area, but there are a lot of traffic there. They have a big parking lot, and also they're, you know, they have all different kind of shopping, entertainment thing to do there. So if we don't have a lot of choice, and also we only have some high-end shops there, it's hard to attract people. So I know it's hard. I don't blame our city. I don't think we have to learn the same way as Walnut Creek have done, and we can think differently. Yeah, I don't think we have to do that way, but we can, yeah. So I got lost myself.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's okay. No, thank you. We really appreciate your comments and thoughts. We will be voting on the representatives this evening, and the Madam Clerk will be getting back to everybody later on the next couple of days.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Christina.
Yes.
Next steps for us will be any discussion I think we want to have about candidates in general, and then we can I think the consensus was we would go ahead and vote on who we thought were our top 6. And then after that, 2 alternates.
Correct.
Great. Any comments people want to make about people?
Bill, what did you just say? There are 2 alternates?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so we're looking at 8 people out of the 10, and
Yes.
then we can decide the alternates. So Phil was right at the beginning. The Phil plan, cut 2 out.
So I did generate the polls. So once you discuss, I can go ahead and pull up the polls. We could either do the alternates first or the 6 first. You just have to let me know. But we can try that voting method first. And then once that's selected, I would still need a motion and a second, and then a roll call vote for the final overall appointment.
So I think what Christine is looking for is that we would give her 6 names each when called upon.
So would you like me to start the polls?
Yeah.
Or are you going to do do you have an electronic poll, or are you just going to ask us?
I have an electronic poll. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, let's do that.
So do we want to start with the 6 for regular positions, or do you want to start with the alternates?
Oh, no. And start with the top 6. Either start at the top or the bottom. Don't start in the middle.
That's what, just want to make sure. So let me first issue this one. So
Bill? Hey, Bill?
Scott?
Bill?
Scott?
What?
What? We're all here, and the poll is up on the screen.
yeah.
Oh, look
So
at this.
please-
Now,
please
Scott, you
select-
were to say something.
Please select 6 names.
I have a question first.
Yes, go ahead, Scott. We've been waiting for you.
Ask.
Scott?
Call on me rather than, I didn't know that you would recognize me, okay? At one time you were
You're the
talking.
one in the blue shirt.
At one time you were talking about the bottom 2 and then working from there. We're not doing that, I take it.
No.
Christina suggested the polling and we rolled with that.
Yeah, this is very much more convenient than we first knew we could have.
Yeah.
Okay, who's voting first?
We're all voting, and
At
then
the same time.
Okay,
You got your own separate ballot.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So your ballot is your own ballot, and then Christina collects it. This is a genius. This is good.
and it'll auto total it up.
Yep.
Save her some time.
You know, I was kind of picking on Scott there, but the bottom line is you asked if there were any comments before we took a vote, and
Yeah.
I thought that's where you were going, Scott. I'm sorry.
All right. Never mind.
6 the first time.
Right.
Ben, you want comments?
And then you won't tally them all up until everybody's submitted, right?
Yeah, so it looks like I have 4 of 5. So 5 of 5 have now submitted their numbers. So I can end the poll and you can see the results, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 candidates are 100%, and then there's a little bit of staggered in between. So let me go ahead and end this.
Before we know, do you want us to obviously take those 4 off as a sort of tentatively approved and re-vote 2 more times? I mean, 1 more time for 2 people?
Yes, so we can do that. However, the way I have it set up, I can't take names off. So we just have to know who was indicated this first time.
Okay.
I can let you know that.
Sure.
Tell us which forward.
Okay. So Michael Lee was 100%. Terry Caney was 100%. Shadi Shazbek was 100%. And Patience Ofodu was 100%.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed the first name, Christina.
Michael Lee.
So Michael Lee, Terry Caney,
Mhm.
Chatty,
Shadi.
and Patience.
Correct.
Okay,
All right.
so now we're going to be voting for 2 of the remainder as regulars,
Right.
correct? Okay,
So let me launch another one and then select 2 more.
So I assume anybody that gets 3 or 4 or 5 would be in.
Mhm.
Yeah, if they got 3.
Or 6.
Yeah, right.
Everybody voted?
Not, yes.
Okay.
I do have a question on this thing, Christina. We can't see it, but.
I can
Ba-
share it with you afterwards. I
Okay,
mean,
that's,
I
but
can
the
share it with
ballots, just as long as they're available for anybody that calls in, that's all I care.
Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. This has to be all recorded in record. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so only one person had 3 of 5 votes. The rest are 2 of 5.
Who got the 3 of 5?
Who got the 3?
3 of 5 was Dwight Pratt.
We'll take, Dwight is in. So now we vote. And who got the other votes?
The other votes was Dan Perez, Pahlavi, Lily Zoe, and Williams.
All got
All
votes.
got votes.
Yeah. So if I can just make a case, we have, of the 5, we only have 1 woman. You have your choice on what to vote, but just bringing that to your attention. I like to keep it balanced.
I was gonna bring that to your attention too, but then we have alternates.
We do have alternates to come, and the alternates actually need to attend in order to retain their alternate status. So
And Dwight was gonna be one of my alternates. We're still in my ballgame.
So we're,
Can
So
I ask-
just a question here. We've got 5 so far, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
no, 1,
What?
2, 3,
we have 5.
yeah, 5, yes,
We
5.
have 5. So that means we have 3 more positions remaining, correct?
With
Correct.
4 to go, with 4 left.
we have 3 remaining.
We have 3 left with 4 to go.
Yes. Yes.
No, with 5 to go. We have 5 remaining
No.
and 3 positions.
Yes.
No, we, only 4 got votes.
Oh, so take Shadong off. Well,
And we have 3 spots left.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So whoever gets 3 votes this time would be the 6th, and then we'll decide who the 2 alternates are.
since
So
you
right
brought-
now it's Dwight, Patience, Chadi, Terry, and Michael.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a question because you've done this, Sabina. Right now, there's no problem with commutes because everybody's at home. The only thing that held me back from Pahlavi was Oracle, Redwood City. If we ever get back to normal, can she make the meetings?
We didn't ask her if she worked from home.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. But you've done, you know what I mean? Is that's the only thing about her that,
I mean, I
otherwise she's on
served
my
on the
list.
Transformation Committee, making it 6:30 when I was working in San Francisco. So if somebody commits to it and if they, if they apply to it, my expectation is that you modify your schedule. Phil makes it every time.
Okay.
It's a 4
Yeah, Redwood City is twice as far though, but I get it. That if you sign up and you don't make it, you eventually get bounced from the committee, right?
Right.
So,
We have 4 people.
got a question?
No, I'm just pointing out that these are 4 o'clock meetings.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, so you're, okay.
But they knew that going in.
Yeah.
So we
they
have,
were asked that question. They were told.
I
So-
read her thing and it says after work, so that's what got me. And I should have asked, you're right.
right, let's not make decisions for folks who may have every intention of.
exactly.
Once a month. We have 4 people who, Dan, Pavali, Min, and Williams.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and vote for one of them.
I'm sorry, we're voting for
One person.
One person.
of whom? Who's?
Well,
Dan
Oh, Min, you
Perez.
called her Min. Okay, you called her Min. I had her as Lily. Okay,
Oh,
so
Lily,
it's
I'm sorry, Lily. Yes.
Lily, Pahlavi, Dan, or Willie?
Yes.
Yes, William.
And we're voting for, and how many, and we voting for one? Okay.
One.
One.
Let's see if somebody gets 3. I'm watching Christina smile.
No? Oh, God.
Who are the ones
Why
that
don't we
got
do
votes?
this? Why don't we do this? Let's vote for 3 to be on the committee and then decide where they're gonna fit. Does that make sense?
Well, let's see, who got the votes this time?
That's what we
Yes.
were gonna do at the beginning.
Yeah.
You had, one person had 2 and then 3 people had 1.
Oh,
Okay,
well, that
so let's do
didn't-
that. Yeah, let's
Let's
have the 4 remaining and vote for 3.
Yep.
And then we'll decide where they fit in the mix. Does that make sense to everybody?
Or the
That's
highest
amazing.
vote getter can make it to
Well,
the,
Yeah,
Who
fair enough.
who got 2 this time? Was it
Pallavi got 2.
Lavi? Okay.
So we're gonna vote for 3 of the 4 remaining. Is that correct?
Again. We just did
No,
that.
no, I don't mean,
Yeah.
this is crazy voting 1 of 4. We're throwing darts.
Yeah.
Let's pick the 3 people we want on the committee and then figure out
Ah,
whether
got
they're
it.
regular.
Vote
Got
3
it?
times. Let's vote for 3. Sounds good, Phil. Good idea.
Or Willie, Lily, Pallavi, or Dan,
Right.
right? Okay.
Yep. Great idea. That should sort it out.
Maybe.
That's caution, Chris.
The odds are better.
If you got 2, we toss a coin.
Okay. So you have 3 that have 4 of 5 and 1 has 3 of 5.
So 3 got in.
Yes. So the 3 with 4 of 5 is Pallavi, Lily, and Williams.
Okay.
so is there a tie between Pallavi and Lily with the same? But they both have 4 or 5?
Everybody has 4 or 5.
Yeah, these 3 have 4 or 5, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So you want
So it's a question then of who of those 3 is the regular, right?
Right.
Yes.
I'm open to suggestions. I don't really,
Pallavi, is she okay?
I like.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Pallavi, yeah.
yeah, that's fine. So she's the 6th regular.
Yeah.
But I
And then
Sabina doesn't
Lily,
want a woman.
Lily and Willie are alternates. Who's the alternate on the short one? Shorter term.
I think Williams should have the longer term. He's actually a business owner in San Ramon.
That's cool. I think that's as good a reason as any.
I
I
do
thought
too.
he should be the regular member because he owns a business in San Ramon.
Okay, can somebody make a motion?
I didn't agree with the Pallavi being the regular member. I thought Williams should be the regular member. He's a business owner.
So
Yep,
did I,
there-
but the mayor just pushed and used his muscle, and
No, I didn't. I
I
think
like
4,
Pallavi, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
just don't think she's,
there were 4 of
Those are
us that
tough.
wanted Pallavi.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are tough routes to
As well.
commute.
Williams had 4 as well.
Okay,
No, we know, she tied.
Right, they all tied at 4.
And so we then we said, who of those do we want?
My recommendation was Williams because he's a local business owner.
Yeah, I get that.
Rental properties and he owns the UPS store down by the Lucky.
And he'll still be on the committee as an alternate.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that looks bad to me, Scott, I agree with everything everybody's been saying, but we come up with 2 alternates. We have 2 out of 3 are women at the end, and we picked the 2 women for the alternates.
I vote on merit, not gender.
Right.
I used to. Now you just have to watch.
No, I agree with that statement, Scott, and I like Pallavi as the choice. I thought she was good. Williams
Yeah, I
good
thought
too.
she had good answers, frankly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I put
Got
down
a
she
good
was smart.
spread around town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are we now so
A
Pallavi was
motion for
the,
the whole kit and caboodle.
okay. And who is the
First alternate.
Christina, could you read what you have us so we can
Mhm. Yes.
Thank you.
So for the 6 regular members, I have Michael Lee, Terry Caney, Shadi Shazbek, Patience Ofudu, and Dwight Pratt, as well as Pallavi. I'll butcher her last name. I apologize.
Her first name is Pallavi, I think.
Pallavi?
Pallavi, yeah.
Pallavi.
Pallavi? My
Pallavi.
apologies. And then for the alternate with the term expiring 2022, I have Williams. And for the alternate with a term expiring 2021, I have Lily. And then you can also, up to the council for a motion for the chamber candidate as well.
Which was Thompson.
I move the list as presented by Christina.
Second.
Was there a second?
Yeah, me.
Dave seconded. Oh.
Dave seconded. Any further discussion? See no further discussion, Madam Clerk, that's a roll call vote.
Councilmember Hudson.
Aye.
Councilmember Alone.
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Zafar.
Aye.
And Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. The list passed 5-0.
Christina, thanks very much. This was an excellent juggling act, and I think we did pretty well. And good luck on the game with the gamer there, Zapina. And Scott, I understand where you're coming from on this. I like him as a businessman, so I think it'll work out.
So do we?
Yeah, I would suggest that we use this kind of polling in the future for our committee meetings.
I liked
Save
it.
some paper, you know?
Glad
Adoption.
it worked out.
Actually, I have Believer and Dwight as my alternates.
Well,
And I
given the,
honestly believe what Scott was saying. It's just that when you get down to this, everything counts.
Yeah, it'll work
Okay.
out.
Do we
Thank
need to
you.
vote
Are
on
we
the-
done?
we're done.
Sabina,
Are we?
do you have?
Yeah.
Don't we have the,
Oh, and
No. She
Chamber
read
of
it. She read out.
we did it. We did it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I included, when I read out, I said Dave as the chamber rep.
Okay, got it. I wasn't sure if we were going to do it.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, let's leave. Bye.
All right,
Thanks.
leave.
All right.